What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Sean Black, aka DFS 5050, and today I wanted to go over the lineups that I have for this afternoon. But what I want to do real quick is just show you guys a lineup that I did last night. This is one of my higher scoring lines that I had last night. I had a score of 342, which in the mini dribbler got me second place for 20 bucks. I had Rajon Rondo, Tyler Ulis, James Harden, Devin Booker, Jay Crowder, Brandon Ingram, Anthony Davis, Nikola Mirotic, and Robin Lopez, which was the high flyer value of the night, along with Mirotic. For a lot of you that were listening in, I was telling y'all that y'all should do a mini stack or a game stack on Chicago, and they didn't disappoint. Jimmy Butler went off too. I think he had like 45 fantasy points for his price, which put him at I think about 6 or 7x. No, 45, 8. It put him around 6x, 5 to 6x somewhere in there. But he was low owned in all tournaments. But this lineup was a combination of the lineup optimizer that I have, as well as looking at what teams are giving up the most points to their respective positions that I was targeting. As you can see, most of the guys here, they were somewhat highly owned. 43, 50, 31, 22, 11, 20%, 44, 21, and Robin Lopez being 2% owned, meaning it was only, I think maybe first place might have had Robin Lopez. Let's find out. Let's see. They had Al Horford. But, this just goes to show that, if you do your research and, you do some due diligence and you get things going, you can make something happen. I kind of wish I had Evan Fournier. He was actually on my list last night. Having that extra 10 points and him being a whole lot cheaper than Devin Booker. I could have took this thing down for 30 bucks. But hey, second place is good. My birthday is December 2nd, so I'll take a win for that, for the team, right? So in any case, that's that. Let's go to the lobby and let's start working on today's line. Again, when I create this line, I created with a thought process that I created basically to give me a good direction as to where I want to go with some of the players. What I've noticed that by me doing these live broadcast lineup builder shows, my accuracy has improved a whole lot. I'm seeing things differently because it's like opening up different gates of knowledge. So I just want to kind of keep the ball rolling because, hey, who doesn't love to win, right? So let's see. We're going to do a $3 tourney. You know what? Another thing that I've been focusing on a lot is my bankroll management. I've been focusing a lot on. I've been doing a lot of make sure that I don't overspend on my bankroll, and so trying to get this thing to do what I want it to do. All right, there we go. So you already have some lines already pre-mixed in there. Let's see. All right, here we go. Okay, so while that's working out, let's go to my projection hub here. All right, so tonight we have the top 10 plays will be Steph Curry, Kemba Walker, Klay Thompson, Bradley Beal, Griffin, Harden, Irvin, Redick, Leonard, Aldridge, Capella. Okay, we're going to start off with Steph Curry against Milwaukee. All right, and he's probable for tonight. So hopefully he'll stay upgraded. If not, then of course we have some other pivots that we can go to. He's probably going to be one of the more expensive point guards of the evening, but for the most part, with him having 1 day's rest, he's averaging about 41.6 fantasy points. At home, he does a lot better than away. Against Milwaukee, so far this year, at 9,200, he only went for 34.8 fantasy points. Milwaukee, they do play a lot of defense against the point guard, so I would kind of tread caution. I would tread with caution on this particular play. I will see him more as a, higher up GPP play, so to speak. So I would basically, if you can fit him in your lines, yeah, put him in, to your GPPs. Cash wise, he's also good for cash, but honestly, I feel like you might have some better options for the money at the point guard position. So let's see, moving on with the next, we have Kemba Walker. All right, Kemba Walker is facing John Wall. Their last outing, let's see here. Their last outing, Kemba Walker at 7,200 did 38 fantasy points. Now, honestly, I wish I could have Kemba Walker under 7,500. He would seem to be more of a viable play for me. Salary saver and all that kind of good stuff on the mid-tier pricing. But as y'all know, John Wall plays some really good defense, and he knows how to, keep the ball away from, certain point guards and everything. The only concern I have with John Wall is that he was questionable yesterday, that he was upgraded to probable on his foot. So he is facing the back-to-back. So with him doing that, I just want to make sure that I actually have what I need from him, as opposed to, thinking about something else. Like if John Wall doesn't play tonight, then yes, I definitely want to, get on Kemba Walker. The funny thing about DFS is sometimes you really have to be down to the wire. You really have to reserve those last 30 minutes before lineup lock. 30 minutes before the game starts, really, to be able to, do what you need to do and make sure that you can make your changes if necessary. Kemba Walker is a good play for the most part. Not super high on him, so to speak, but you know what? Him being at home might be an advantageous pick. All right. Let me see something here. Let's see. Just check something here. All right, cool. So anyways, the next play that I have here is Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson, honestly, I just feel like Klay Thompson is more of a GPP play. Let's look at his line. Again, I'm sticking to my narrative on Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson is a boom or bust play. I don't want to say that he's safe for cash. I would say that he's good for GPPs only at the time being. Last time they played, he went for 36 at 6 Gs. He's $1,200 more than what he was before. On Fantasy Labs, their plus-minus rating on him. Let's see here. Right now, sorry about that, guys. Klay Thompson, he usually meets value 83% of the time. The only problem with that is his price went up by $1,400. And if we were to go back on Kemba Walker, he has 77% consistency rating. He hits his value 77% of the time. They're projecting him at 35.8. My projection is projecting him at 50.23. That's kind of high, but I guess the only reason I'm thinking, not what I'm thinking, I'm looking at it like this: Kemba Walker at home, John Wall on the back-to-back. Usually, 9 or 10 times back-to-backs don't really mean much, but the way the NBA schedule has been this year has been somewhat strenuous for a lot of teams, and they've been doing a lot of resting of players and things of that nature. So, just something to think about and whatnot there. Hold on one second here. Oh, I'm looking at DraftKings. I'm sorry, guys. My bad. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. I don't know if I failed to mention this, but I'm actually working out of Starbucks today. So if you hear a lot of background noise, please forgive me. Um, had I'm actually running on about maybe 3 hours of sleep today, but you know what? I'm not going to stop my grind, and this is what grinders do. You wake up, you make it happen. So as we keep on moving, um, oh, that's right. I wanted to go back to this here. Kemba Walker, as you can see, 77% of the time. Uh, uh, Curry is not in the mix here. Oh, there he is. He meets his value 80% of the time. He's projected to score 42, but if he's projected to score 42 fantasy points on 10,000, I mean that's really like 4x. Really, that's 4x, 4 times his value. And in order for this salary that he has here to be justified, he has to at least have 50 or better. Now, that's not to say that he can't get it. I'm just saying that I'm not going to take that chance on 10,000. So right now, as we're building this lineup, I would like to pick Kemba Walker so far. Okay, Kemba Walker. All right. All right. Next on my list, I have Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal has been really doing his thing for the past 4 or 5 games or more. At 8,500, his price is justified. Um, I want to look at. Um, I want to see how much of a price jump has he received as of late. So far, he's at he's meeting value 80% of the time. However, his price has increased by $3,300 over the past few games. Now, there are other options in the mix that we can go with on this particular play. So right now, I'm looking and um, I'm thinking about a couple of people. I'm going to get to them in a few seconds here, but if I'm going to do all of that, I'm better off just picking Klay Thompson as opposed to going with Bradley Beal. Um, because at 8,500, he has to give me at least 45 fantasy points or better to meet value. His floor right now is at 32.8. If you look at his previous games, um, let's see here. Let's see, at 85, 25, 81, 31, 8,037. It just seems like anytime he's under 8,000, he performs the best, honestly. I mean, look, at 8,000, he was a 32.6. So, that's just a narrative that, we may want to consider. And on top of that, he's on the back-to-back, so I don't really think I want to pick him. Now, mind you guys, this is a lineup optimizer. If I want to throw him in a GPP, definitely. But, one of the ways that I build my lineups is through hybrid. It's like a hybrid lineup. It's a lineup that I can put both in cash and GPP games. And the lineup that y'all saw previous, my 342 line, I put that in a double up in 50-50, and I passed with flying colors. So that's another scenario that I'm thinking about there. So for right now, I'm going to plug in Klay Thompson in my shooting guard position. And again, guys, my approach is usually about the same every single day. Sometimes I might, check on the news. News is always important in basketball, but I'm always checking on that and making sure that I'm having the best optimal play of the evening. As a matter of fact, according to the most fantasy points allowed right now, out of everyone on the list, Thompson is number 5 on the list. But as you can see on my optimizer, he is number 3. So, I like those odds. I'm going to plug him in. And then, once I get my core set up, then, I like to build around it and make sure that they're fortified and all that kind of good stuff. So let's move on. Klay Thompson, Brad Beal, Blake Griffin. Okay, Blake Griffin, right now, he is number 6 in the list of teams that the opposing team are allowing the most to that position. He is number 6 on that list. Um, some notable mentions on that would be LaMarcus Aldridge, Love, J. Michael Green, Zach Randolph, those folks there. But in any case, Blake Griffin, 8,600. Let's look at something here with him. All right. Blake Griffin, all the way down bottom here. All right. His price increased by 900. Projected floor of fantasy points, 37.8. My projections on him is about 47.66. Cleveland, they're okay against power forwards. They're not necessarily the best, so you can definitely make room for Blake Griffin. It just depends on how he's been performing as of late against, teams. Let's see, and, also we can check out his last outing. Okay. And for guys that y'all, for those that don't know, I'm using Daily Fantasy Nerd for some of their information here and just utilizing that to see what I need to do with this line here. Last time they played at 9,000, he was at 34.5 fantasy points. His usage, I believe, that's what it was. Yeah, his usage was at 29. And, technically we're kind of getting him at a discount with him being 8,600. Usually he's like a $99,000 to $10,000 player. Now with Chris Paul being back, hopefully we can, get these things going. He should be well rested for tonight's game against Cleveland. So, we'll see what we can do with that. Okay. So what we're going to do, the over-under in the game is pretty high as well. So I like the fact that it's very high. The only 2 games that are really boo-boo, so to speak, are going to be the Utah-Chicago and San Antonio-Memphis game. So those are part of the games that I'm going to end up fading, plus or minus 1 or 2 players in the mix. But other than that, yeah, those that are definitely the games that I'm going to be fading as a whole. There are some sneaky plays in these games, but anyways. Going back to what I have on my list, I got Blake Griffin. Okay. And so right now we got Kemba Walker, Klay Thompson, and Blake Griffin. Our salary remaining is 36.3 with an average of 6,000 per player. Now let me look at something here. Okay. Just double checking. I didn't have anybody on the chat there. So in any case, we have these 3 players, okay? The next on my list is James Harden. Need I say more about James Harden? We're going to plug in James Harden, okay? Sorry. I don't think there's really much that needs to be said about James Harden. He is on the back-to-back, but he's by far the most durable player in the NBA as of right now outside of Westbrook. Speaking of Westbrook, let's see what my line is doing right now. Right now, I'm not doing too well on my early slate. The highest score right now is 133, and I have 81. Sacramento is getting their ass whooped by about 17 points. Garrett Temple, 8.5% owned, has 17 fantasy points right now on Fanduel. Robertson is doing really good. Cauley-Stein sucks. Steve Adams has 34 fantasy points. I kind of slipped on Steven Adams. Kind of mad about that. Super cheap. I went with Nurkic, but hey, it's whatever. Taj Gibson is not doing all that hot right now. Partially that can't turn that mix. But my lineup with the early slate, I have Westbrook, Lillard, Hardaway Jr., Oladipo, Sefolosha, Robertson, Gibson, Millsap, and Nurkic. So that's my lineup there. Anyways, as we move on, let's see. JJ Redick, 27.56 fantasy points. Cleveland struggles against shooting guards. We all know this. Cleveland struggles against point guards. We all know this. So a lot of people are going to be targeting the Clippers. Of course, most of my lineups are usually contrarian. There are some plays that kind of ride the wave of what everyone else is doing, but for the most part, I believe that my lineups are somewhat contrarian. Okay. So I like Kyrie Irving. Um, you know, Kyrie Irving at 8,600. We're getting him at a discount. He was 93 a few games back. Let's see what we got here. And he's somewhat questionable, but probably liable to play. So we'll see. We'll see how that one works out. Um, as you know, I don't like questionable. If anybody is questionable, I don't play them. Kawhi Leonard at 9,900. Whew, unfortunately, that's too expensive. That's very, very, very expensive for Kawhi Leonard. However, Kawhi Leonard has been doing very well um, against everybody, really. I mean, Kawhi Leonard, for the most part, is matchup proof. The one thing about cash games that you want to look at is make sure that the player has a high floor. And as you can see over the past few games, minus concussion protocol, he's been somewhat decent. I mean, averaging over 40 to 45, 50 fantasy points in the last, let's see, 8 outings. He's done pretty well. And so that's something for you guys to think about there. However, at 9,900, I don't think that he's someone that you would want to play today. And again, this is against this is a low scoring total this evening. I'm sorry, for 9,900, I just don't see it. I mean, he can produce, but yeah, I mean, for that price, there's another person that I'm thinking about. And I will get to that person once we get our core situated. Our next person is LaMarcus Aldridge. I don't really trust LaMarcus Aldridge. I think I don't know. LaMarcus Aldridge is he's not doing too hot right now. He did okay in the last outing, but I don't know. He's just sketchy to me. And playing against Memphis, they like to bang. He doesn't like to bang as much anymore. He used to be a banger. He doesn't like to bang. The DVP is not in his favor. So is Kawhi's. Even though they're favored to win by 3.5. You know what I mean? Like it's just a bad game. Now, you know what? If you want to go contrarian, yeah, pick LaMarcus Aldridge or whatever. But that's just being too effing contrarian. I don't even want to go there. There's maybe one or two people I'm thinking about in these slates, but yeah. Moving on. Clint Capella at center. He's my first center in the mix. The next one will be Robin Lopez. Of course, Robin Lopez went hammer blammer last night, 45 fantasy points. But Clint Capella, he disappointed me last night. He only gave me 36.48 fantasy points. I think, considering that I have James Harden in the mix, I'm going to go with Robin Lopez again tonight. Both of these guys on the back-to-back, they're going to play regardless. Everybody's trying to make sure that they solidify their position in the playoffs, and except for Chicago. Chicago sucks booty. So, that's what we have right there. Hold on one second, guys. All right. So, anyways, I'm going to go back to the well and pick on Robin Lopez again. He treated me very well last night, helped me win, $20. So, got to trust the man. He's trying to make it happen for the team. Utah, even though they're a strong defensive team, this guy can bang. He is a banger. He will stay in the paint. He's not going to try to shoot jump shots from the arc or anything like that. He's going to go in there and do all the dirty work. I'm pretty sure Portland misses him a whole lot right about now. But anyways, I mean, they got Nurkic, so it's whatever. But yeah, so right now, those are my 5 players, core base. So we have Walker, Thompson, Harden, Blake Griffin, and Robin Lopez. Okay, I still have $20,000 left. And I guess at this point, I probably should be going into my value plays or can go maybe stars and scrubs type of strategy. In the small forward position, I really haven't had any exposure to anybody. the first three players that I have in the mix right now would be Butler, Middleton, and Luke Mabute. Look, I might have chopped up his name so bad, and I'm sorry, but it is what it is. And then Giannis is actually Giannis is a shooting guard on Fanduel. So let's see. Um, Sorry, it's so hard for me to focus on all this daggone noise, so I'm gonna try to get through it, guys. Hopefully, it's not as painful on your end as it is on my end. But in any case, I'm looking at um, to fit in some players here on the small forward end. Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is someone that I've been looking at lately. He's not necessarily all the way high on my list, but he's definitely somebody that I think I should want to target. He seems like he's been getting his act together, and now that he has a little bit more support from some of his teammates, he's been able to actually go out and do what he loves to do, which is produce. And so in the last, 3 to 4 outings, subpar. His price dropped down to 87, so it makes it more uh, appetizing to even plug him in. So for that matter, I like him. I mean, I know the matchup is looking bad, but you know what? The same thing can be said about LeBron James' matchup against Utah, and guess what LeBron did? He went ham. So, and Jimmy Butler is along those lines of a LeBron, minus a championship. But hey, that's somebody that you want to plug. I want to plug in, and and my Ambute. I'm gonna probably plug him in. He's very cheap right now. I think he's like 44 or less. Where is he? Yep, Luke Richard. There we go. Minimal salary. All right. So right now I have Kemba Walker, Klay Thompson, James Harden, Jimmy Butler, Luke Richard, Blake Griffin, Robin Lopez. Right. Again, remember we were talking about Kemba Walker. I want to look back and see. I want to see his last outing with them again, just to kind of see something. Of course, the DVP is not necessarily in his favor. 7,932 point, 10 points under his expected projection, 4.2 times the money. Well, guys, I think I might pass on him, and I'm going to look for somebody else. Maybe Kyrie Irving, but he's questionable. So, of course, whenever someone's questionable, I just pass on them. Steph Curry, no. John Wall, Jamal Murray, Lou Williams, Conley. I think in this instance, what I'm going to do, think I'm going to go with Chris Paul instead of Kemba Walker. He's 8,600. He's about the same price, give or take, plus or minus $600. So that's what I want. Chris Paul, Blake Griffin combination. Cleveland is horrible against point guards. If I want to save money, I can go with what's that guy's name? Reddick. But I think in this one, I think I'm going to go just to save on some salary. I want Harden, I want Thompson, I want Butler, I want Griffin. I think Batum is playing tonight. Hmm. You know what? Let's get a little wild. Let's get a little interesting here. I'm gonna put Tony Allen in, and the only reason I'm picking Tony Allen is because he's like number 6 on my list, but he can give you a lot of peripheral stats outside of scoring. Now, if he includes the scoring, then he's up for an easy 40, 30 to 40 point night. On average, he's averaging about 20.5 fantasy points. But let's look at Allen here. The matchup is not all that bad. So let's see how he's been faring as of late. 21.7. He did 25.7 at 43 against San Antonio. So somebody we can definitely look at and plug in. So save us on some salary. We've got 5,100 to work with. Another person that I'm thinking about. Let's go to the point guards. Let's see. One of the first persons that I had on my list here was Jameer Nelson, and then on the power forward end, we have Anderson. I don't trust Anderson with a 10-foot pole, 2-foot pole, 1-foot pole, any kind of pole. I don't trust him, honestly. LaMarcus Aldridge, I'm not too sure about. David Lee, since LaMarcus Aldridge returned. Let's see. At 5,600, he's 48 now. With I don't know about that one. I don't think I want to go there. But I think in that same game, a person that I want to target who is cheap and can produce very well is J. Michael Green over Zach Randolph. He's 4,200. He's definitely worth a look when he gets the minutes. As you can see, anytime he has over 25 minutes, he's been scoring over 30 fantasy points or more. So that's a good average to have. This could be definitely like a GPP play or a GPP flyer. His usage may not necessarily be all that way there, but he can definitely be utilized there. You can easily go to Zach Randolph, but it just depends on what kind, what type of game they want to play, slow and steady, or they want to be super athletic. And that's the type of thing that Memphis has. They have the let's ground it out or let's be super athletic and go from there. So just to make it do what it do, I'm going to go to J. Michael Green. But in that same round, I could also go with Mirotic. Mirotic, he did pretty well. He's going to be in the starting lineup. It seems like he's going to be in the starting lineup. Oh, no. Hopefully he can be in the starting lineup for the remainder of the season. I don't know about Ryan Anderson, y'all. Ryan Anderson is definitely a true boom or bust play for me. Even though the matchup is in his favor. Last time he had a favorable matchup, he didn't really do too much. I think, he's hurting somewhere, somehow. Who knows? In a situation like this, I kind of go into the plus-minus ratings and see if there's any value plays. Oh, man. Oh, wow. Okay, so check this out. So on my early slate game, I just got news that Paul Millsap is ruled out because of a tight knee soreness. So guess what? I'm out the money on the day slate automatically, unless a lot of people had him. So we'll see. It's whatever. But moving back to what we're talking about here, J. Michael Green, 4,200. He has a good opponent plus-minus rating. He meets value 76% of the time. And his upside is really good. It's at 45%. So he has a 45% chance to exceed his value. So I look at stuff like that. And you know what? I like Jermichael Green. So I'm going to plug him in. I know it's a slower paced game, but, sometimes you have to kind of, extend yourself outside of, the popular plays. So, I have exposure to all the games. I have Chris Paul, have Jameer Nelson, Tony Allen, James Harden, Jimmy Butler, Luke Richard, Blake Griffin, Jermichael Green, and Robin Lopez. Right? So those are some plays that I have there. Some other notable mentions. From the looks of it here tonight, as I was doing my writing down of opponents that are, teams that are in favor of the opposing team based on positions. Some people say with defensive or position, but this one is, I focus more on the points aspect and not defensive aspect, how many points they're allowing. Looks like you can do a mini stack on the Clippers in which you can use Chris Paul, Luke Richard, and Blake Griffin. You can do a Cleveland stack in which you'll have Kyrie Irving, Steve, J.R. Smith, Kevin Love, and Tristan Thompson. You can do a Milwaukee stack in which you can use Brogdon, Giannis, Middleton, and Henson. I think that might be a nice little stack to play with. And actually, I think what I might do, what I'll do, I'll wait like 10 seconds or whatever so you can take a look at this lineup here. Chris Paul, Jameer Nelson, Tony Allen, James Harden, Jimmy Butler, Luke Richard, Blake Griffin, Jermichael Green, and Robin Lopez. I think it's, pretty good, right? So let's do this. Let's open up another tab. And let's build another lineup because I think I'm going to use that lineup there on the mini SWAT there. Waiting for this thing to load up. And basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to build a lineup that I want to stack.
You're totally good when you're done. Thank you so much for being a great person. Thank you.
All right. Hold on 1 second, guys. This is loading up. Let's look at some other plays here. Giannis had a great night a couple nights ago. He did very well. Matter of fact, he did really well last night. I think he did 60 fantasy points, I believe. Or was it the night before? I can't remember. Gordon Hayward is a viable play. George Hill against Chicago. I could see that. I could see him go off against Chicago. And the thing is, I don't think Utah played last night, so I think he had a day's rest. I think that turf toe is not really bothering him as much, so he should be able to produce some points. So he's definitely somebody that you can pick. He's more a hybrid type of game type player because he can boom or bust, but then he has moments of consistency. You just gotta catch his trend when it's fresh. All right. So let's build another lineup. And let's build a lineup based on the stack that I was thinking about, which is the Milwaukee stack. Turn it up. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear this out. All right, and what we're going to do here is, like I said, we're going to do Brogdon. Well, basically, let's go to the Milwaukee game. All right. So we're going to go with Malcolm Brogdon. Giannis. Middleton. And then we're going to go with Henson. So those are our 4 guys. Brogdon, Antetokounmpo, Middleton, and Henson. All right, and then from there, what we can do, we can fill in with some of the players that we have in our previous lineup, right? And we're gonna put in Robin Lopez. Okay. All right, we got Robin Lopez. We'll probably do Jimmy. Let's see what we look at. 29-3. We can do Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler. All right. Let's see. We have 6,800 to work with here. We can go with either Hill or Paul. Mike Conley might be a nice little play for 8,200. Let's go to shooting guard. Let's see, in our shooting guard, we had Tony Allen. So let's do Allen. All right, so we have 8,250 for each player. All right. I guess in a case like this, we can go a little contrarian and maybe go with Mike Conley at home. Let's see. Right now, he is on my list, but he's kind of on the bottom end. 35.84 fantasy points, but you got George Hill with 36.7 at 6,000. So let's go with George Hill. And the reason I built my own projections is because I just wanted to make my job a whole lot easier in picking out or identifying true value as opposed to listening to what everyone is saying about certain players. So instead of me just being like a yes sir to, play this player, I was like, okay, why? Why should I play this player? Why should I use this player, utilize this player? So I basically built my optimizer to help me point out if this person is of true value or not. It's been working out for me over the past few days. I think I had one loss, one break even, and one win. And the accuracy of my players are somewhere around 60-65% correct. I think last night I really hit on the money except for like maybe one player, which was Rondo. But it's okay. I'm not really tripping about that. But last but not least, okay, so I have 10-5, right? And guess what? We get to throw in Blake Griffin in the mix. Now, it would have been cool if I could throw in Jokic. He might have a decent matchup. So what should we do, y'all? Throw in Jokic or not? Jokic has been beating value for the most part. 77% of the time. Points per game. No. Fantasy points per game. Average 34.2 fantasy points. Let's see. I don't know. Let's see. Let's look at some more information on Jokic. Let's see what he's trending. Okay, he's minus 300. And I don't know. Looks like he might be a good play. So let's see what his trends look like. Game logs, correlations. Okay, 30 minutes, 48.3 fantasy points, 24 minutes. So I guess we're looking to make sure that he gets over 30 minutes. Will he get that with this game? I believe so, considering it's supposed to be a close game. It's not going to be a blowout. Super close game. A lot of people are going to be stacking this game. Having exposure to this game is a necessary must. Um, you know, so let's see. I have Giannis. Uh, let's see. Let's look at a center here. One of the centers that I have on my list also is Pachulia, but let's see if Pachulia is cheaper. And he is by $100. Okay. I want Jokic. All right, so now we just gotta pick apart and see who we don't need. You know what? 3,900. We have J.R. Smith. He's on the list. Yep, J.R. Smith. Or, another flyer pick that a lot of people have been sleeping on is Denzel Valentine. So, let's see. Let's look at his game log. He's been pretty consistent. He's facing Utah, though. They usually shut down players there. So, we'll go with J.R. Smith. So, this is the stack. Malcolm Brogdon, George Hill, Giannis Antetokounmpo, J.R. Smith, Chris Middleton, Jimmy Butler, John Henson, Nikola Jokic, and Robin Lopez. So those are the players based on the top stack that I have. Feel free to play it. Feel free to let me know if it worked out for you or not. If you want to do a Denver stack, you could do Jameer Nelson, Gallinari, Chandler, and Plumlee. So, you can do it like that. So that's 4 players, right? So, yeah, on FanDuel 4, on DraftKings, you can do 5. So, again, that's Nelson, Gallinari, Chandler, and Plumlee. Okay, that's what's showing up on the list as far as based on their respective positions, how many the team are allowing a lot of points to those people there. So you might want to check that out. All right, guys. Let me see if I have anything on the chat line. Yeah, Jokic. I like Jokic, and I like Zaza too. The only thing, and also too, you can go with like a revenge game narrative on Zaza. Consider that, last season or season before last, he was playing with them and they traded him. He's not really sitting high on my list per se of centers, but on the other thing that I write down, he's looking really good. Let's see. And he's probably the fresher leg too also. So, might be a good look to maybe plug him in there. Let's see. Good matchup, Zaza. Let's see. Chicago, Robin Lopez. Let's see. Matter of fact, let's look at Robin Lopez and see what he did last time with them. See, 28.4 fantasy points at 46. He's 45. I like Robin Lopez. I think I'm going to dig in the well on that one. Let's see here. Yep. Jokic and Zaza, those are good plays. If I wanted to save myself some money and plug someone else in, I could. As you can see, though, I have on this lineup here, I have Chris Paul, Jameer Nelson, Tony Allen, James Harden, Jimmy Butler, Luke Richard, Blake Griffin, J. Michael Green, Robin Lopez. Here as well, I have Brogdon, Hill, Antetokounmpo, Smith, Middleton, Butler, Henson, Jokic, Lopez. So those are some plays that y'all might want to consider looking at. I'm definitely plugging these in and some GPPs. Might throw it in the 50-50 as well. And let's see. Let's look at something else here. For me. Actually, you know what? Never mind. Oh yeah, definitely. I'm definitely on Jason Smith if Morris is out. If Morris is out, I'm definitely gonna be on him. I just got to find out if he's going to play or not. You know what I mean? I think that's really the main thing. Like if Morris is out, why can't I say his name? Morris. There we go. Morris. If Morris is out, then Jason Smith is in. That's for sure. So, I'm definitely a fan of that. All right, hold on a second here. Okay, so now I know how to do this correctly. My bad, y'all. All right, there we go. Yeah. So, yes, on Jason Smith. I actually like him a lot. And then for him being, for him to be 3,500 as well, I mean, I'm definitely, want to plug him in the mix. No problem, man. No problem. Appreciate you tuning in. Did you have a chance to check out the feed yesterday? There we go. All right, and forgive me, guys, if things are kind of choppy and whatnot. I just been trying to improve my performance here, so to speak, when I do these live lineup builder shows. Another thing that I like a lot about this is this also helps me just as much as it's helping you guys. Simply because I want to win. I want to make sure that I'm getting the best lineup out there, and I want to make sure that I'm hitting those 320s to 350s, man. If I could hit the 380s, that'd be even better. You know what I mean? I mean, hey, if we could all hit 380 every single night, I think by the time the season is over with, I think we'll all be sitting on a pretty penny. You know what I mean? So that's basically where I'm at with that. Let's see. All right. Let's look at something here. Bottom of the barrel. All right. So this is the people that I have here at the bottom of the barrel. I have Terrence Jones at 25.06 fantasy points. That's if he plays. Frank Kaminsky is a little on the expensive side. I need him back down in the 4,500 line. Jameer Nelson, of course, at 5,000, 29.7 fantasy points. And honestly, guys, he's going to be super. I feel like he might be, I don't want to say lower owned but I think he's going to be lower owned tonight. And the reason being is because everyone is always scared of Patrick Beverly. And, I don't know. I appreciate the compliment, Dave. I don't know, man. I feel like Jameer Nelson might be that guy tonight, man. I think he might be that guy that might go for like 45 fantasy points. And a lot of things that are leading into that is, let me go back to Daily Fantasy Nerd. Okay, this thing's loading up. God bless Starbucks Wi-Fi. Okay, so while that's loading up, again, these are the lineups that I have. Honestly, I feel very strongly about all of these lines. I have good exposure to each game that really means something. And for the games that might not have nothing going on, I do have exposure. I feel like I have exposure to the right players. Luke, that's one player I'm somewhat concerned about. Even though LeBron James doesn't play that much D, I'm telling y'all, like, if y'all look at the other game that he played against Gordon Hayward or any other person for that matter, anytime those guys were in transition, that's the only time he played D. When he's isolated, he does not play D. You know what I'm saying? Just watch the games. When he plays and he's isolated on a one-on-one, he doesn't play well. He doesn't play well. Now, if it's a transition where like person's going up for a layup or whatever like that, he'll come out of nowhere and swat it out. Rudy Gobert. Let's see. Utah. The only thing that scares me about the Utah game is the fact that it's the lowest over-under in the slate. His DVP is not looking all that great against Chicago because, again, Robert Lopez can bang. He's a banger. So let's see what we got here. Let's look up, see what he did last time with them. He might have scored good. He might be one of those on the low GPP plays for you if you're into GPPs. All right, see, check this out. When he was 6,400, played 40 minutes, 37.1 fantasy points. He is 7,900 now. It seems like every 3 or 4 games he goes for 50 fantasy points. So, it just depends on what side of the coin you're gonna get from him tonight. Are you gonna get a 35 burger, a 35 point game from him, or you gonna get a 45 point or a 28? You know what I mean? So it just depends. I'm not sure. Guess what? Guess what, Dave? We got something for you. Jason Smith is in. All right. Yeah. Jason Smith is in. Lock and load. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove John Henson out of the mix. And Jason Smith is going to be in. Bam. Look at that. All right, look at that. That looks pretty. Looks real pretty. Now, if I want to get more minutes, out of my play. See, the thing is, too, another thing that, once I do these lines, another thing that I start looking back, I start backtracking, I start looking at the minutes. I start looking at the minutes because the minutes will always dictate the amount of production that you can get out of a player. See, someone like Jason Smith, he's a point per minute monster. I don't have him on my portfolio, so to speak. I don't think so. But if I did, he definitely would be somebody I might look at. Joe Ingles is somebody. Oh, Rodney Hood is out, so Joe Ingles is definitely in play as a small forward. He can get you about 25 to 30 fantasy points on the fly real quick. So that's another person that I might want to consider looking at. That's from the early game. Let's see here. Yep. So that's it, y'all. You know what I mean? We got Brogdon, Hill, Kubo, Smith, Middleton, Butler, Smith, Jokic, Lopez. Looks pretty solid, right? Next one over here, we got J. Michael Green. We can switch out J. Michael Green for Smith. He's gonna be highly owned. So, just something to think about. So, those are some of the plays that I have. And honestly, I feel very strongly about my core, which in this first lineup I have Chris Paul, Nelson, Harden, Butler, Griffin, Smith, and Lopez. Man, I really feel good about that. And I think, you know what? Oh, man. Fantasy guys love me today. We'll take out, what's the name? I'm going to put in Ingles. I like Ingles over Luke. Yeah, I got CP3. Yeah, he's in there. Yep. I like CP3. I think CP3 is a very valid play. Oh no, I really feel good about these lines, to be honest with you. Really good, actually. Um, like really good. I like the exposure that I have to each game. The ones that where the guys can produce and excel in. Um, Let me double check on Joe Ingles right quick. Joe Ingles. Joe Johnson is also a good play too, but I like Joe Ingles a whole lot better. He reaches value 78% of the time. He has a 50% upside, so he has a 50% chance to reach over 5x, which is also always awesome. If he has the ability to give us 10x sometimes. So yeah, I like this. I like this a lot. Opponent plus minus, but Jimmy Butler, he can defend. But when you start throwing a whole bunch of small fours on him, like for example, I don't know if y'all noticed this on the game that Utah played against Cleveland, how they were just throwing, Gordon Hayward, Joe Johnson, and they were throwing Ingles on LeBron James, or they were trying to make it difficult for LeBron to produce. And they were still able to get points. Let's see. If someone's gonna be super low owned, I think either be J. Michael Green or John Henson. I like them a lot tonight. And I'll tell you why. J. Michael Green, it epitomizes what Memphis basketball is all about. Okay? He likes to bang. He likes to grab rebounds. He likes to throw it back in there. He likes to, contribute, in every way he can. He's not just sitting there being complacent. Same thing goes with Henson. Henson's not necessarily a three-point shooter, but this guy can go in, grab rebounds. J.R. Smith is too volatile, though. You see what I'm saying? And, he's very, very volatile. Let's see. I think I had him in one. Do I have him in one of my line? Nope. Yep, I do. He's volatile. So if you're gonna play J.R. Smith, make sure you have a team around him that can support his volatility. Because he's one of those guys that can get you 7 fantasy points or 40 fantasy points. Boom or bust. There's nothing in between there about him. So that's just something to think about. So, yeah, that's just my thought process on J.R. Smith. And I don't know if you're playing Fanduel or DraftKings, but on DraftKings, if your power forwards and centers can get you 10 rebounds and 10 points, you get extra points for the double doubles. You know what I mean? But then again, if your guys can shoot really good 3-pointers, you get 0.5. But that's as much as you get out of the situation. Hey guys, if y'all have any questions, hit me up on the IG. I'm gonna put that up right now. Instagram.com/DFS5050. That's my handle right there on Instagram, DFS5050. If you have any questions, you can always shoot me a private message on my Instagram account. And just make sure that yeah, follow me, man. I usually like to post up my results or some plays that I'm thinking about. But if hey, like I said, if you have any questions, just shoot me a message on Instagram. And yeah, man, let's get some money. Um, Tonight should be a nice night. My bankroll right now is at 86.70. I'm trying to build it to about 200 before the month is out. So hopefully, as I do these videos, you can see the money increasing. I already have some money in play already. Otherwise, this thing will probably be at around $94. So we'll see what it do. This went a little longer than normal, but I really like these plays, and I highly recommend that y'all try these plays out. Let me know what you think. All right, it's your boy Sean Black. I am signing out. Peace.